go. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Dave in the building, aka Mojo. Today we have a special guest with us, but before we get to her, I have my co-host with me.
How you all doing? First and foremost, thank you all for tuning into the most unorthodox show on the globe. And I am one of your hosts, Myra B. King. And this is a very special edition that we have today. We have Miss Nicole here with us. She miraculously survived being shot 17 times, and she is alive and well and here to tell her story. Let's welcome Nicole to the show.
Hello. Hi.
How you doing, Nicole? So initially, where are you from?
Bellwood, Illinois.
Bellwood, Illinois. All right. And how was it out there growing up?
Growing up was pretty good. I live about 10, 15 minutes away from Chicago. So like the west side of Chicago. So we're like technically the west suburbs. Growing up was pretty, I really didn't see any gun violence around my area or nothing like that. When I grew up and grown, older, started seeing more people, I did, hang out more in Chicago. So, but growing up, I had a really pretty good childhood. I grew up in a Christian household. My church is literally just like down the street from me. So
nice. So you believe in God?
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful. So so you were in a relationship at the time?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And how was did you see any signs or anything that you should, be aware of? Like,
sadly, yeah. I would say about 5-6 months in, I kind of I started seeing the different side of him. And, he started being unfaithful, the lies. He was such a good liar. There were a lot of signs, I would say fairly in the beginning, but I closed a blind eye to it.
What was the biggest red flag for you? Was it before you knew about her, or what was a red flag for you that you were just like, you know what, I might need to cut this off for sure?
Well, I would say the biggest red flag was when she started coming to my house. Like, the last time she had came to my house, she actually like broke in. Like she just came inside and she scared. I live with my mom, so she scared the daylights out of my mother. Like that was just not a good feeling. And when I said like I started to drift away from him, it started right then and there, because I was just like, this girl is not right in the head. Who just breaks into somebody's house? Like, it was crazy.
Did you call the police?
Oh yeah, the police got called numerous of times. She came to my house about 3 times, and they got called every time. Yeah. So she actually got arrested that day.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think she had like a mental health issue,
or
was she just obsessed?
She was obsessed, and I definitely believe she had a mental health issue. Definitely, yeah.
Unfortunately, man, based off what I was listening to, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, 1 year into the relationship, you started to see the signs and everything like that, the infidelity, all of this other stuff, him just doing extra stuff. In that situation, most women would start to look to get out. What you said, you start drifting away from him.
Yeah, I actually I even started seeing somebody else, and I dealt with somebody else for a little second, and I kept thinking about him. Like, he never like went away.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much toxic on both ends. Like we just, would drift away, but we'll get right back together. It was just on and on and off, on and off.
If you had to pinpoint anything, what do you think made you stay before it even got out of hand? What do you think made you stay?
I was in love. Like it was like my first, he was like my first real relationship, honestly. Like the first man that ever told me he loved me, I was in love, and just dumb in love, all I can say.
That's tough, man, because as women, especially like being in love, and it's just like you will want things to change, want it a certain way. I know I've been there. Like that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, and he was so good in the beginning. Like, he was just the sweetest guy. I'm like, okay, this is my husband. Like, he checked all the marks for me. Like, he was just really good in the beginning. So when he started to show his true colors, I really was holding firm to the person he showed me in the beginning. You know, I'm like, okay, you can get back to that person. Like, I just know you can. I was just trying to see the good in him, but it just kept getting worse and worse.
So how did that day go for you? Like, was it weird or anything? Did you have any feelings, any knots in your stomach that something was
The day I got shot?
Yeah.
Hey, this your boy Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo. And if you like what you are seeing so far, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the page.
Please.
And if all else fails and you like what you talking about as far as this merch wise, baby, hit us up. You know what I'm saying? Check us out on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook at TwistedYounginz with a Z. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you give us an email at twistedyounginz@gmail.com for all promotions.
Where's it at twistedyounginz@gmail.com?
Yes, sir, with a Z. And also, if y'all don't like what you see right now as far as merch-wise, we got more merch, and we also do your merch.
Do your merch,
Send us in a couple
support
designs.
everybody.
Yeah, and we do promotional packages, interviews, videos, articles, whatever you guys need, man. Just make sure you hit us up. Holla at you, baby.
It was a really good day. Like, it was Halloween 2020. I woke up. I had a hair appointment. I mean, I had a little pretty costume I was gonna wear at the end of the night. I had a friend's party to go to. I never in a million years thought my night was gonna end like that. It started off as a really good day.
That's what's up. And I mean, you know, like you said, it was, you know, Halloween. You had just got dressed up and everything. So you was just getting home before all of this happened, before you even got the phone call. You was just coming home from everything, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now you get the phone call from her and she says what she says to you. Y'all exchange some words. But from what I gathered, you basically told her at the end of the phone call, you can have him.
I did. That's the crazy part. Like, that's the most unargumentative I had ever been with her. Like, you know, I've never seen him with her, like in her bed or nothing like that. So that was really just like the eye opener for me. I'm just like, well, he's there with you. You know, I'm like, you can keep a little ugly ass. I don't care. You know, I'm sorry, but I was like, you know, that's what I told him. I'm just like, I'm good. You know, and that's when she was like, ugly? Who ugly? I'll come shoot up your windows. And I just hung up the phone. Like, I didn't think no more else about it.
Yeah, because we're not thinking when people say that you're actually going to come over and do that. You know, well.
And the sad part is she always threatened my life. She always did. Like, after each altercation, like, she was like, I'm going to kill you, this and that. You know, I'm just thinking, you know how girls talk when we fighting, when we mad. I'm just thinking it's just fight talk. I'm not thinking she really about it. Because she had a son. She had a little baby. So I'm just like, girl, you're not going to leave your son do no crazy stuff like that. Like, you know, but she did.
And so she comes over to the house. Now, where were you? Were you outside?
No, I was getting ready for bed. And people have to really tap into the mindset I was in at that moment. And like I said, it was Halloween. I had been drinking. I came home and I was drinking. I had smoked before I went to bed. So I was intoxicated. When I seen him pull up, I was really mad. So my initial thought was just like, I just ran outside, like, to try to prevent him to disturb my neighbors. You know, I just was going to tell him no. You know, I honestly thought they got into it and she kicked him out. So I'm like, don't be trying to run over here now, you know, go back to where you came from. So by the time I had walked outside, and as I'm walking closer, I'm clearly seeing it's not him, it's her. So that's why I asked her, I'm like, what are you doing here? And that's when she pulled the gun out.
Now, we're talking about she shot you 3 times in the stomach, and right then and there, you hit the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I ask you how you was feeling in that moment, what kind of gun was this? Because we're talking about 17 shots. Was this a pistol or was this a...
I don't know.
Like, were they single shots, like, you know, bang, bang, or were they all just, you know?
They were single shots.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so we're probably talking about something like a semi. But when she shot you the first 3 times, what was the first thing that came to mind? Because I know when you seen the gun, even then, did you think she was gonna do it?
She didn't even give me time. Like, if I wanted to beg for my life, she didn't give it no time. Like, all she said was, "You think it's a game?" And she just started shooting. Like, all I thought in that moment was, "This is how I die." Like, I'm like, okay, wow, this is how I die. This is how I leave this earth. And I just thought about my mom that whole time. And I'm just like, when it hit me, I just felt like I was in a trance. Like it just really just, ooh, I can't even explain it. Like it was just really hot. And like when I fell down to the ground, I feel her presence coming over me, and she's still shooting. She's still shooting. And she, like I said, she was just saying, die, die, die. And I'm screaming for help. I'm screaming for help. And I hear my neighbor, she yells out the window, stop doing that. I called the police. So at that moment, like I said, I'm like, okay, Nicole, you gotta stop screaming. Like, just play dead. I played dead. I put my head down in the street, and then she ran off to the van and drove off.
Now,
wow.
do you think
First,
that's
hold on, man, that's sad. I'm glad you're still here, because that's fearful to be in a situation like that, and to feel someone coming over you and they're still shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's hate. That's evilness.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Like, when I was in the hospital, I just remember like crying, like, what did I do to her so bad? Like, why did she hate me so bad? I never experienced nobody like wanting to kill me, or because I'm not when it happened to me, people that knew me, went to high school with me, they like, what? Like, they honestly thought I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time or something. Like, when I came out with my story and told certain people, like, they're like, what? Like, oh my God, like, I can't believe she did that. Like, I just honestly feel like she was really sick in the head. Like, because I didn't do nothing that bad to that girl to want to do that to me.
Have you all got into a fight before? Like,
yeah, we fought. We fought.
Did you get the best of her?
I mean, honestly, I whooped her every time. So that's why I really thought she wasn't about coming to shoot me. Like, she was really weak. Like,
why not though? You done whooped her. Shit, she ain't trying to fight no more. She know what that's gonna end up in. So
yeah, I mean,
no, that's sad, and I hate to hear that. And like you said, there was something wrong with her, and she was caught, right?
She was caught. And it's not, even when I say I whooped her, like, it was never a time I went and try to, jump on her or nothing like that. Every time she came to my house starting stuff, like, she took me there, because I'm not a fighter. I'm not none of that. Like, I be so out of the way. And she really took me there. I'm just like, stop coming to my house. My mama's here. You're scaring her. My mama was the one calling the police each time. It was just a lot, and I'm just like, and all he's saying is, oh, she's a stalker. She's just following me around and this and that. Like, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's crazy, And I'm just like, in the beginning, I kind of believed that. But as time progressed, I'm like, okay, I'm a woman. You entertaining it at some point. Like, she's just not doing all this for nothing.
Well, first and foremost, are you healthy? Is everything good with you?
No, I mean, I still have trouble walking. Like, I can't walk long distances. I have to use a wheelchair, like, if I'm going somewhere where it takes a lot of walking for me. I still have to have one more surgery to reconstruct my bladder. So, she's giving me conditions I have to deal with for the rest of my life.
And so you're laying on the ground, and you said your neighbor calls the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And the ambulance arrives.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you black out, or are you still knowing like what's going on? Like,
I never lost consciousness. Never. I was awake the whole time until they led me up into surgery.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, and I mean, for you to be stuck in a situation where you basically feel like this is it, this is
right.
it, and you're thinking about your mom, and then, for like you said, you didn't, you go into surgery. People are forgetting this is in 2020. This is at a time during the pandemic, so there were no visitors.
Yeah.
First time you had,
I have no visitors. Like, the time I went into surgery, my mama hadn't even known nothing.
Have you? Well, before I say this, as you're healing in the hospital, and as you said, you're describing like what's wrong with your body. Did your ex-boyfriend ever bother to reach out to you to apologize or to see how you were, or to?
Yeah. The first day out of my coma, I had to talk. I talked to my mom. She was the first person I talked to. she wanted to know what happened, because initially he was supposed to come to that party me and my friend was at. Like, he wanted to hang out with me on Halloween. And that's the last thing before I let my mama go, before I went to the party. That's the last thing she knew, that me and him was supposed to get together that night. So initially she thought he was there, and she came, you know, doing what she used to do. And she thought that he was outside with me, because she was like, why would she go outside? It don't make sense. She would never went outside just for that girl, you know. So she was like, he was there. So in her mind, you know, while I'm in the coma and everything, you know, he had been calling her, you know, trying to see what was going on with me. And my mom was just like not trying to talk to him. She was like, I know you was there. Why would you let her shoot my baby up that many times? This and that. And he's just telling her he wasn't there. So when I woke up, I told my mom what happened and stuff. She said, well, he's been calling, you know, I'll call back and tell him, you know, apologize about that. And do you want to talk to him? I'm like, yeah, because she was in his van. The last time I seen her, they were together. So I'm like, I want to know what happened. So when I talked to him, he stated that they had got into an argument about me, you know. She was very upset. She had left the bedroom, went downstairs, and she was just crying hysterically. And he said he just rolled over and went to sleep. He said the next thing he knew, in the morning, old girl had called her from the police station saying that the police arrested her, saying that she shot Nicole. And he was like, he's like, Nicole been shot? Like, what? Like, you know, so he had been calling around to the hospitals and stuff. So the hospital had let me know that I had a phone call. So when I answered, it was him. So that's what he went on and told me that they got into an argument that night, and she left the house. I mean, he didn't even know she left the house, he claimed. So, you know, he was very apologetic. You know, he was just saying how sorry he was, how sorry he was for cheating, how much he loved me. And, you know, I had just talked to the surgeon, and the surgeon had told me I might not never walk again. So I was very upset about that. And he was just like, you know, you'll walk again. I'm going to be taking you to therapy. I'm going to be there for you if you allow me to, this and that. You know, I had gotten off the phone with him, but he was persistent. He called me every day when I was in the hospital. But sadly to say, before I had even gotten home, he started back with his old ways, you know, started talking crazy, doing crazy stuff. So, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the sad part, because at the end of the day, I meant to talk about with old girl, even with her getting locked up, and we're talking about she having mental issues. You got to understand there's some type of codependency there, because at the end of the day, you're feeding this. If you wasn't getting that much attention, she would have never developed feelings that strong. As a man, you fed her that. You probably, you know, he telling you, yeah, she's a stalker. He ain't telling her she's a stalker. He in the bed with her.
Right.
He got mad at her. They get into an argument. She go downstairs and go cry it out. He gonna roll over in the bed and sleep. That means you're feeding this, dude. So there's that. And then, like you said, even with him talking to you, he talking about, I'm gonna be there for you. He want to see this process through with you. And then basically, once he realized, you know, you're gonna live and you're gonna be all right, he like, yeah, I'm on my way. You know, I'm on my way, and I'm gonna keep doing what I do. It's that type of stuff right there where, you know, like I said, I hate that you had to go through that. And I know women go through that on a normal basis. But what I do want to say, though, is, you know, through all that we just discussed and everything, you're a Christian woman, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so God gave you a chance to keep living. It's for a reason. And I know you may be the same again. And I tell people all the time, no matter what you go through, as long as you're still here, you got a chance to change things. You got to change the impact, you know? The stuff that we're doing now and the stuff you're going to continue to do for the rest of your life, it's going to impact people in the world, because they're going to look up to you for guidance. You've been through something that they may never experience, that they can look at you and say, my lights getting cut off ain't that bad. This woman's out here striving for her life. Like you said, you got one surgery left, and yet you're still continuing to fight to survive and, you know, do what you got to do to get back to normalcy for you.
Having to use a wheelchair, coming from a life where, you know, you, like you said, going to a Halloween party, hanging out with my girls, having a drink. And then now I'm faced with this life-changing event that I have to live with maybe for the rest of my life. And I also want to ask you, mentally, have you, I don't want to say forgave, but have you kind of like made peace with the situation to kind of move on?
I'm working with it. You know, I'm dealing with it. Like, I just spoke with him because the video came out. So many people have been sending it to him. So, you know, I talked to him and he was just saying some crazy, you know, he was just saying some things that I just upsetted me so bad. And it kind of like ruined my whole mood. And I'm just like, why am I still allowing him to, you know, affect me like this? It was so irritating, you know. So I told, like, I hadn't had him blocked on everything, but I really had just had to block him off of everything, you know, because it's just like, I'm allowing you still have too much power over me and I don't like it, you know. But as far as with her, I haven't got to the point where I forgave her yet. You know, I pray that God still allow me to give me, you know, a forgiving heart. But as far as hating her, I don't hate her. That takes up too much of my energy to hate her. You know, God can't bless me in that if I have a hatred heart, you know. So I don't hate neither one of them, you know. As for him, you know, I can't say too much on him, but you know, it's just, I wish him the best. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, God told you to forgive, just don't forget. That's all. You know, you don't give no one that type of power over you. You don't, you know, like I said, hatred is a strong feeling, and that's a strong word, and that's a very evil kind of thing that you get into. You know,
but again,
and it took time. Like in the hospital, I just was looking up her mugshot, and I just be staring at it. Like I just be just so mad, you know, didn't want to talk to nobody. I was just so upset. And I just had to pray because I'm just like, you know, I can't move on in life if I'm still just sitting in one depressive spot, you know. Like God has allowed me to live, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
And and then again, I understand how you feel as well as far as having empathy with that situation because I'm looking up at your mug shot and I'm laid up in the hospital because of you.
Yeah.
You know, I bullet wounds here and staples here and there, like all because of you. So anybody would be mad, and that will take time. But as you said, God has allowed you to live, and it's for a reason. So there's definitely much more things for you in store if you open up to it. You know what I mean? Like you said, don't allow anybody to have too much power over you. And as they say, everything happens for a reason. Those reasons we won't understand, but you still have a whole journey. Like some people, they don't make it out of that, you know.
No, they don't. Some people like
times, you know, they don't make it out.
Even where like I did the video on, it was other stories on there. A young lady got shot just twice. She paralyzed from the neck down. She got to do everything with her mouth. It's so many people that just got shot once and they're totally paralyzed on feeding tubes for the rest of their life. You know, I just got to thank God for things just being as well as they are because they could have just been worse, you know. So, you know, I'll take it.
And that's the power of, you know, having, you know, a life full with faith, you know. Sometimes you have to be willing to put faith in something that's not even there, something bigger than you. As they said in New Jack City, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This stuff is bigger than us, you know? This stuff is bigger than all of us. So, you know,
is the case still open? I mean, not open, but is the case still ongoing as far as like the trial?
Yeah, it's ongoing. Like it's really, she really just sitting right now. She don't have no bond. She haven't even pleaded yet. So, you know, we just had court on Friday over Zoom, and everything's in, all evidence and everything's in. Her lawyer needed more time to see over my medical records. So she has court again next month, so they're gonna be trying to request a bond then. So I hope that she don't get one, you know.
Hopefully this interview will put it out there and they'll know that, hey, this ain't worth it right here. This is not how it should be. You know what I'm saying? That's the situation that you went through, and the fact that people are gonna have to, you know, they need to see this so they can know how to get through with their day. Like I said, this is all about, you know, a bigger cause. At the end of the day, ma'am, I'm proud of you. You know, I love the fact that, you know, you're blessed, you're beautiful, you're happy, you're getting through your situation. And that motivates other women who are in your situation or even worse, or maybe not as bad.
And you're not giving up.
And you're not giving up.
I mean, look at you. You have your hair done, you know, like,
I'm did you out here. We see you stunned, you know, as you should.
You don't get like most people, like you don't, even though you may you are going through something, you know, depression or whatnot, but you are not giving up. You're not letting that beat you. You're dealing with it. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
And a lot of people would have given up in your situation. Like when Myra was talking about, to go from a regular lifestyle to just having to change everything and knowing that, you was given a chance. Some people might, there's a lot of people say, oh, I'd rather die. I'd rather be.
I was there. I mean, I wasn't like this always. I had my days. Like I just was, especially like in the hospital, like it was just so painful. I remember just crying. Like me and my mama stayed on FaceTime. I just remember like just saying, I want to die. Like God, just take me. My mama just sitting there crying. She just praying, like because even when I got home, like getting home was the hardest part because it made it real. Like I'm in my apartment and here I am, got a wheel around my apartment. I'm just like, it's real. Like I'm literally at home. I'm looking at everybody live their life, go out of town, and I felt stuck. Like I'm just like, man, like I don't want to be here. Like I kept thinking that. But I had to stay encouraged, just listening to gospel music, praying, just taking my mind off of things. It helped out a lot.
So, in this path moving forward, what's next for you?
Well, I love to write, so definitely I'm wanting to write a book. Just getting my story out there, like it's already like up to over 1 million views, and so many women have already came into my DM just telling me that they're in similar situations, and this was an eye opener. Or women that have been through it and just, oh God, you make me want to tell my story, and women that have been shot by their baby daddies or their husbands, their boyfriends, women that's technically just in the 3-ring circus I was in. My dude baby mama's crazy. One girl, she texted me and said, they both got a baby by the dude, and this girl is just, she goes on, she sends her videos of her toting the gun, saying how she's gonna kill her. She done bust out her windows. Her and her friends and came to her house, jumped her while she had her son in her hand. I'm just like, wow, So, it's just, I could tell them things that I didn't do, to not prevent to where I am, that, where it happened to me, they can see, maybe they can go about it a different way. Like, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it.
Yeah, maybe in the future you can have like some type of support group.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'll be dope. And then like you said, writing a book, like, oh my gosh, like it's so much, like, so much stuff that,
Yeah, sky's the limit when it comes to you and your story and the way that you can motivate people through your story, and your consistency to continue to go on throughout your journey.
Yeah. And we want to again appreciate you for opening up to us, because you didn't have to do that. This is
absolutely
personal, and I know it's probably hard to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because it's still hurt, and heartbroken. You know what I mean? Does this cause you to have any trust issues or insecurities towards people now?
Yeah, it does. I've been asked out. I'm like, no. Like, I'm just not ready. Yeah, I'm just like, it's gonna be a little minute before I start dating again. Like, it's gonna be a little minute. But I overanalyze everything now, This past weekend was the first weekend I had went out into a club. And I really was anxious about it, but it really went better than I thought. Like, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I definitely watch my surroundings more. I definitely pay close attention to the company that I keep.
That's great.
That's beautiful.
Well, again, we want to thank you for this, and man, we wish you the best.
Absolutely.
And plenty more to come. Like, I'm excited to like watch the rest of your journey. You know what I mean? Because I know it's going to be a lot of positive stuff to come out of this for you. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, keep
being strong, and like you said, keep watch the people around you, and great things are going to happen for you. You already have things in work. You already, like, when you say that women were coming to you in your DM explaining their situation, like sending videos, like, I'm pretty sure before they probably had no outlet, because it's
because we don't talk about it. I was ashamed to talk about how I just set up and letting the dude keep cheating on me. Like, you know, it's a lot of things my friends didn't even know because I was ashamed. Like, I was embarrassed to talk about it. I really was. That's why I took so long to really come out with my story. You know, I was just embarrassed about what people gonna say, what people gonna think. And I've seen some bad comments. I've seen some crazy comments, but I've had more good than bad. So, you know, I just thank God for that.
What made you change your mind from that? What made you go from, you know, basically being ashamed of not wanting to even talk about it to making you, you know, say, I got to get this out here. I got to share my story.
My friends and family, I'm not gonna lie. Just people that just going through like in therapy and stuff like that. You know, they just be like, wow, you really need to get that out there. You know, even the detective on the case, he was just like, you know, you need to really just talk about it and get that out there. You know, your story is really powerful, you know. Like people in my church, like, you know, your story just, it shows that God is real, you know, and you just really need to get your testimony out there. So that kind of pushed me into gear, like, okay, I do.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you coming out and giving us a chance to talk to you about this and everything. And I'm glad you're sharing your story. I'm glad you're continuing your mission. Continue your mission. You know, anytime you have anytime you're having hard times, anything like that, as a Christian, you know, do what you did in the beginning, what you had to do. Just lean on your faith and trust the process, you know?
Yeah.
Continue to be mentally strong out here. Never let no one else control your mind or have that type of power where you feel like, you know, you have to do something based off someone else's opinion on the way they're going to feel about it. I could tell right now that, you know, you're pretty much on your own time. I appreciate you coming out. Myra, you got anything else?
No, thank you, and have a blessed day.
Absolutely, man.
You too. Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.